Hello, dear friends. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. We have come with more news updates. I know you are there. I pray that God will be with you and will grant you your good heart desires. Some people make that mistake of saying God grants you heart desires. You don't know what that person desires. It must be a good one before God will grant it. So I make a complete prayer. I say, may the Lord grant you your good heart desires. And I say amen to that. So there's something that our Prime Minister posted. He said, those that are afraid of feeling guilty for defending themselves, like Biafrans defending themselves with guns and ammunition. He says he's wishing these people good luck. Oh, continue to be afraid. Good luck until they catch you. The Zoological Republic Army, when they catch you, you will know that if you had known, you would have killed them before now. That's how you should be thinking when you see these people, because their act is foolish act. The way they burn people's houses, the way they destroy Igbo properties, the way they kill Igbo youth, the way they extort money, the language they use, the face they use in collecting your money is what pisses me off. I see them as people that are not supposed to be existing, and that is even how they are seeing you, but you don't know. It's better you know your enemy and know how you can avoid that person. You understand? So I promise I support him for saying this, because the more we kill them, the more we gain victory. They are the problem we are having. The government is using the army to kill us. So we are even looking for pump action. Bigger, better and more sophisticated and expensive weapons, so as to do the needful, do the buying. The Woto Pro Max must be going on. I want you to yourself listen to Prime Minister. He's here direct. So let's hear him out. I'll be right back.
Honorable Chief of Staff of the Biafra Republic Government in Exile and the de facto government in Homeland. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the press. Good evening, our cabinet members, ministers, heads of department, friends of Biafrans, ladies and gentlemen of the press. I welcome every one of you this evening. Good evening, our international attorney, Dr. Levy. I welcome you to this very first ever Biafra Republic Government in Exile press briefing to inform Biafrans on the milestone of this government within a very short period of time, especially on this Banjul court development. My fellow Biafrans, since I was elected the Prime Minister of the Biafra Republic Government in Exile, I made sure that we fulfill the promise to the Biafra people by following the template and liberating Biafra using multi-dimensional approach. The multi-dimensional approach, the political approach, diplomatic approach, and of course, in self-defense and armed struggle approach. The reason for that is that while we are following the international most acceptable way of liberating people that are being subjugated or enslaved by the oppressors, we as well, and at the same time, decided to protect and defend ourselves against a known terrorist state called Nigeria. So my fellow Biafrans, we continue to pursue the freedom of Biafra people using every mechanism necessary. Of course, there is a need for us to also use the judicial approach. And today we are in Banjul court with the Nigeria terrorist state. The Nigeria terrorist state, many people may not understand why we will continue to address Nigeria as a terrorist state. A country where terrorists are reintegrated within 6 months of so-called surrender. Knowing fully well that you cannot reintegrate terrorists within 6 months. In fact, terrorism is something that is very ideological. It is not something you are going to solve by putting people in one place you call a camp and giving them food and teaching them how to live a life and make food, or how to run and do trainings, and then after 6 months you will say that you have now de-radicalized them. There is no point in de-radicalizing a terrorist that is very ideological. And today we have seen the effect of those whom they claim to have been de-radicalized and reintegrated into the society, including recruiting them into military, police, Air Force, Navy, and all that. We've seen the havocs, the menace they cause in our land, and when they are recruited, they deploy them to Biafra territory, and they will begin to burn villages, houses, instead of protecting the people.
So it's over to you, please.
Thank you so much, Honorable Minister Sani Aparawa. Greetings, everyone. His Excellency Simon Ekpa, Dr. Jonathan Levy, Brigade Cabinet members, de facto government administrators, county and regional directors, stakeholders, media personnel present, Biafrans and friends of Biafrans. Welcome to the first ever press conference by the Biafra government in relation to the African Commission on Human and People's Rights. My name is Dr. Ngozi Robreza, the Chief of Staff to the Biafran Prime Minister. Welcome, everyone. The 2023 County Reports on Human Rights Practices in Nigeria by the Bureau of Democracy, Human Rights and Labor indicted Nigerian government in so many ways of human rights abuse, violations, incarcerations, and killings. Closely related to the search for peace and reduction of killings in Africa is the International Crisis Group Report on African Union. Among the 8 major priorities in 2024 by African Union is the Biafran Ambazonia Alliance, signed in Finland in 2023 during the Biafra Referendum Conference under the leadership of His Excellency Simon Ekpa. This conference heralded the Biafra Charter and other important documents that have paved way for Biafra Declaration later this year. Today, Biafrans, through their Prime Minister and our Council, has continued to bring to world attention the violations, oppression, suppression, and inhumane treatment that Biafrans go through under the Nigerian government. From 1967 to 1970, when Biafra was a full-fledged country to date. The young country Biafra was thwarted by the Nigerian government with over 3 million Biafrans killed and many children starved to death by the Nigerian government. The policy that placed embargo on food, especially proteins, into Biafra land. Same problems that caused the Civil War of 1967 to 1970 still exist today in a more deadly format with the reintegration of terrorists into the Nigerian state, Islamization of Nigeria, and use of 2 laws in one country, creating a very dangerous diversity. A major violation in several human rights reports is the unlawful kidnap, torture, rendition, and continued incarceration of the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, by the Nigerian government. Several court rulings in Nigeria including a United Nations committee set up to look into Nnamdi Kanu's case, have acquitted, discharged him, and sought reimbursement to him from the Nigerian government. But the government have refused to release Nnamdi Kanu or obey any of these court orders, both local and international. A country that has no respect for the rule of law is gone. Nigerian government believed that if it holds Nnamdi Kanu long enough, Biafra agitation and freedom will be abandoned and not realized. Knowing that their mission has failed in that aspect, they turned their attention to the only true disciple son of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, His Excellency Simon Ekpa, the Prime Minister of Biafra government in exile. Under Simon Ekpa's leadership of millions of Biafrans, and in a recent Twitter poll conducted, 98% of Biafrans voted to exit Nigeria. This fact is undisputable. It is the wish of the people, and it should be respected for peace, equity, justice, and in line with the laws governing self-determination. Biafrans met the criteria for those laws of which Nigeria was a member state and signed those treaties. The issue of the Lekki massacre, a mass burial of innocent victims who participated in the march, was confirmed by the Human Rights Report of 2023. Nigeria government denied killing and burying those innocent children. The truth will always stand the test of time. Other violations by the Nigerian government include the incarceration, torture of Biafrans in different cells across Nigeria, whose only crime was to seek for their own country and to exit a country where non-terrorists are reintegrated into the security apparatus, including military and police. The recent killings in Enugu by Fulani terrorists supported and shielded by the Nigerian military and government is documented. Hundreds of killings in different parts of Nigeria, including the Ehamofo killings, the Obibo killings, the Mbo killings, the Aba killing, recently the Okoama Niger Delta killings, the Olu killings, Borno, Jos, Zamfara, Kaduna, Benue, Abuja, including the Federal Capital Territory of Nigerian killings, persistent and continuous kidnappings of indigenous citizens, school children, undergraduates, women and children with no help from the government, headed by President Tinubu, or the army chief under Christopher Musa, or the senators headed by Godswill Akpabio. Little help. Comment on national TVs. No safeguard of lives and properties by the Nigerian government. Biafra exit is a life and death matter. These and many more are the reasons why Biafra seek to exit Nigeria. Biafrans have maintained the Monday sit at home consistently for over 2 years, courtesy of Biafrans and the Prime Minister, His Excellency Simon Ekpa. This act in itself is a form of referendum, and coupled with our established government in exile and de facto homeland administrators, our defined geographical area with its people, culture, and origin well defined, the 40 United States of Biafra, each with its governors whom we call the administrators, deputies, and secretaries. Citizens in these 40 states are loyal to these administrators and to the Biafra government in exile, and have been massively participating in the referendum voting, which is in its second stage. Over 20 million Biafrans that rejected the past election in Nigeria, which was documented on Nigeria INEC website, many of them have voted for the Biafra referendum, and more are still voting daily as we speak. Biafrans are at the point where we are facing extinction and begging to leave from the Nigerian government and sponsored Fulani terrorists who kill, maim, and occupy indigenous Nigerians' home without any consequences from the Tinubu government. During the recent killings in Plateau State, one of the sitting legislators noted that the practice of these terrorists is to attack communities who, out of fear, ran away from their homes, then only for the same home to be occupied by foreigners in a few months' time. This is happening across the whole country. The act of depopulate and occupy is what the Nigerian government and their terrorist loyalists use to eliminate thousands of indigenous Nigerians and Biafrans every year. How could a government that reintegrates non-terrorists as an approved policy be asking world leaders to help fight terrorists? This game is ended. These killings, burning of homes and businesses targeted at Biafrans by the Nigerian government using both the military, police, and reintegrated terrorists can no longer be tolerated. The continuous attack of Biafra businesses in different parts of the country, such as in Lagos, Kaduna, Abuja, Kano, and the economic sabotage of Biafrans on a daily basis by the Nigerian Tinubu government can no longer be tolerated or swept under the carpet. Remember the 20 pounds given to all Biafrans at the end of the Civil War, regardless of how much any Biafran had in the bank. Such wickedness against Biafran persists to date, and we cannot accept it anymore. Biafrans have risen up to defend themselves from these constant killings, oppression, suppression, and economic destruction. For many years, we've marched on the streets, we've carried placards to express our wish. We've consulted publicly and privately with stakeholders. We've reached out to foreign bodies such as the United Nations for help. In all this, what do we get? More reprisals, more killings of unarmed citizens, marginalization, hatred, subjugation, intimidation, and above all, continued violation of our rights, land, and property by the Nigerian government, their allies, and their supporters. This is against all international laws and treaties they sign with other countries. Nigerian government believes in the use of the barrel of the gun to silence those who do not wish to be part of their terrorist state and agenda. Even innocent women and children who were not involved or against what they do end up being murdered. So this shows that whether you defend yourself or not, Nigerian government will kill you using the reintegrated terrorists whose agenda is to depopulate and conquer. The government agenda approved and signed by Nigerian government and legislators and reintegrate these terrorists in different formats, including the one called Ruga, of which they used to spread across the whole Nigeria. The Fulani tactics of divide and conquer is a strong tool which they've employed over the years in many African regions, including Biafra land. They financially...
Yes, thank you for following us to this very point. I know you picked one or two from this first ever press release of Biafra. We are moving, we are improving, whether they like it or not. God is helping us, and we ourselves, we are understanding ourselves and moving gradually and slow and steady. Now win the rest, you should remember. I am happy that we are having new things one at a time, instead of being stagnant for years and surrounding ourselves with people that don't believe in the dream, but they are camouflaging and be deceiving the onlookers that they all believed. That was what happened. But this time around, I think we have it. So whatever our press release to us, whatever they tell us, is what we Biafrans should believe and what we should know. Because if you listen to Nigerian media, you will suffer. You waste your time, you waste your data, you waste everything listening to them. But this time now, we have our own. And I say it must prosper in our hand. He say.